Hi guys, here I am with a mountain of pillows behind me. But, yeah. I made a community post for the first time just asking about videos and stuff. And there was a few of you guys that wanted to hear about why this is such a difficult time. Now, I can't tell everything that I've been having struggles with, but I can give you a timeline of my life for the last few years. And that can kind of build up over it, and I hope that can be a reason enough that you guys understand. So, I'm still dealing with something that's almost been 3 years ago, and that's been tough. It's not even like, I don't know. I can't really talk about that still. But, it's been unpleasant. All the times. Then after that happened, I went to school in Wyoming, and I had a really nice time there. Or in my memories, I have like the best memories. But then my birthday rolled around last year, and one of my friends had a seizure on my birthday, and that made me like scared. So I went to rehab. I was only in rehab for a week, and then they sent me to an eating disorder clinic. And I was there until October of last year. So from August 24th, whenever I went to the detox, until October 28th, whenever I caught a train from LAX Union Station to St. Louis train station. That was a 2.5 day train ride. And I am grateful for the people that I met during treatment. There were some really nice people. But then my grandma had Alzheimer's or dementia. I lived with her for a little bit, and from the time I got back in October last year until I think the first week of January this year, I was basically couch surfing the whole time, except for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the Women's Center. And they kicked me out of the Women's Center because I broke curfew, because it was New Year's Eve, and I wanted to see friends. But those guys, they had my stuff in that room still. They wouldn't let me in to get my stuff. And it was like within 2 weeks of moving that they told me I had to get stuff out or they would just donate it. And I was like, guys, I need my stuff. So there were a few nights that I slept in my car. But that women's center, at first, they told me they couldn't find my stuff. And then they told me to check the shed out there, which I had to have an employee for. And then eventually, the third time I asked that same day, because I was insistent, that it was still in that room. I told them the exact number and everything. And magically they found it. So I got my stuff. I was without my medicine for about a week, I think. And that sucked. I worked at the Jimmy John's down there, and I saw some people. One of them that worked from the women's center, she came in and she asked how I had been doing. She heard what happened, and she told me that she was pissed. And I was like, oh yeah, me too. Me too, ma'am. But, yeah. And then in February, I was already living in an apartment with someone that I met off roommates.com. But I saw someone that triggered the trauma that I have. They came into Jimmy John's, and I looked up from finishing up one order. It was just me, a delivery driver, and my boss. That's 3 people, the only 3 people on shift after like 10 p.m. that night. So I was making sandwiches, finished one up. I heard someone come in. I said, hey, welcome to Jimmy John's, be with you in just a second. And whenever I looked up, I saw him and just froze. It was all of the most intense emotions you could ever imagine, all at once. You freeze, your stomach tightens up, you feel small, and at the same time you want to burst into nothingness and just never exist again. You want to panic and just crawl into a place where you can never be seen again. You wanted to cry and flood the whole place. But you also wanted to burst into flames and hope that he catches on fire with you. I felt all of that in a split second. So I walked back to my boss who was in the office, and he told me, just take a few minutes back there, he'll take care of it. He was not planning to serve this person, but the delivery driver got back and he took the order and stuff, and the boss made the sandwich. And he told me if he ever saw that person come in here again, they would not be served again. And we did not see that person again, but I don't know if this person remembers who I am, or if they just didn't want Jimmy John's again. I don't know. That night, my manager and my coworker, they walked me out to my car to make sure that I was safe. And there was another night where they had to do that, but that was because a homeless guy wrote a 4-page, like on a napkin, 4-page worth of letter and gave it to me, and was telling me how I was his goddess and how I had the most beautiful lips, and that I should meet him beside the abandoned car wash at Circle K after I got off work to give him his goddess that he so desires. That's just the summary. I showed that to my boss, and the cops were called. He was real icky. In March, I started dating for like a long term, I guess, for the first time since the breakup with Spencer, which was almost a year before that, 11 months before that. And then in August of this year, me and that guy moved in together. We packed up our stuff and moved an hour and a half away from everyone that we ever knew in southern Illinois. And it was fine for the first little bit. And then my birthday rolled around and I started having memories about it. And then I started having trauma triggers, and they constantly popped up. The boyfriend was saying some not so nice things to me. He claimed they were jokes. And the first time we talked, it was just discussions because I'm not an angry, outward person, you know? Just discussions. Being like, hey, if you could try to work on this, that would help me a lot. Could never stick to what he said he could. And by the third discussion, well, we only had 3 discussions. All of the discussions ended in, we should just break up then. And I was like, no, I want to keep trying. But yeah, that third discussion, we did break up. He said, yeah, I think we should just break up. I'm not sure I can do this anymore. And I'm like, I agree. And that was tough because I still live here right now. And I moved into the small bedroom. He's not considerate of me still. For a little bit, he tried to be friends. And I was like, no, thank you. Like, you're asking me how I am now when you didn't care whenever we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said something that blew his mind, I guess. I said, why was it that I lost the friend part of you when we moved in together? He couldn't give me an answer, but I think he forgets that you have to be friends in a relationship instead of just lovey-dovey, touchy-touchy. Because the last month and a half of the relationship, I really could have used a friend. Last week, he wanted to get back together because he still had romantic feelings for me and how he regretted the breakup. And I said, I can't. He asked why. I gave him a list. Not including everything, but I gave him a list verbally. And he said, those little things really hurt you that bad enough to where you can't even talk to me. And I was like, I can't allow myself to be vulnerable around you. And he's like, didn't you literally have boyfriends abuse you in the past? Yeah. Yes, I did. But, it was never physical. And, it astounds me how someone can tell you that something upset them and you can't apologize. And you never apologize for it. I'm the type of person where if someone bumps into me, I apologize. So living with him not being considerate of me and not doing the dishes of mine that he dirties up because he thinks that it's a way bigger deal than he thinks it should be. But we're not together. He never used my dishes before. Why is he using them now? Oh, because all his are dirty in the sink from a week ago. But why should I be upset with him over anything? He's clearly done nothing wrong. And I told him to know his audience when making jokes. He brought that up whenever he wanted to get back together. He said he's been trying to work on knowing his audience, and I'm like, that's good. It'll help you out in your next relationship, whatever it be. And whenever he used my dishes the other day, and I was like, could you at least put it on your side of the sink or wash it? Or clean your own dishes so you don't have to use mine? And he was like, it's just a spoon. And I'm like, yeah, it may be just a spoon, but also it's just a spoon. You can wash it. But just little things that build up very, very quickly. I lost quite a bit of weight since the breakup, and I'm trying to get back on track. I'm trying so hard. It's just really, really hard. I have some nights where I just feel like I'm a vessel and I'm not an actual person. I'm just sent here to suffer for people. The only thing that's been keeping me here are other people, because I don't want them to experience any non-existence of me, you know? Like, I try to bring joy to people's lives. And if they ever feel bad, it makes me feel very bad. But, my sister, she's been a big support lately. And I called her one day after the spoon situation. Because, like, even though you know that you aren't being crazy about it, sometimes you just feel crazy about it because the other person reacted the way they did. So I called my sister to, like, talk it through and see if I was overreacting or being dramatic or whatever. And she said no, that she would exactly be the same way. And that, she told me she had been talking to her boyfriend, and, they are gonna let me stay at their house in their spare bedroom. And whenever she said that, like, I got so overwhelmed with a lot of a lot of feelings, mainly positive ones. And I cried for a few minutes, just being overwhelmed. Like, you know those proposal videos where the now fiance lady just bursts into tears and how it's like the happiest moment of her life? It was like that for me. I can be around my family again. I'll actually be there with my little nephew on Christmas morning. I've not been able to do that since he's been born. I just... And also back in like June or July, that's whenever my friend from Wyoming visited me. And I have a story time about that on my Instagram. That was a hard thing. That was a very hard thing. I've lost a lot of people over this year. They're all still alive. I've just lost a lot of people. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get off here in just a moment, but my cousin, she said something so funny yesterday when I called her to tell her the news about me moving in with my sister. She was like, "Oh, this year's finally turning around for ya." And I'm like, finally turning around? It's almost the next year. It took almost 12 months, a whole year for it to turn around. And I'm like, it's about time. I'm not mad at you. I'm offended by that statement you said, but not mad at you. Like, I'm offended at this life. Because I have thoughts in my head, like, if there were a God, what did I do to deserve this? But yeah, that's the end of my ramble. This year is the last few years. I don't even know when. Like, it's been rough. It's been real rough, guys. But I'm making it somehow. Because I don't have a choice for the other people in my life. Alright, my guys. Bye.